All right. Hello and welcome once again to the Heart Connection with myself, John Toivonen, and of course, as always with me, the lovely Diane Bishop. Diane, how are we doing today?
Doing great, John.
All right. I love it. So, this week's topic, we'll get into it in just a moment. I want to kind of go over how you can reach us. Once again, socials. You could follow Rock from the Heart on Facebook. You could follow Aortic Health Unlimited on Facebook. There's people joining all the time. There's lots of good information shared on both of those pages. Both those pages were directly involved with both Diane and myself. So you could find that definitely on Facebook, as well as Instagram and YouTube. So Rock from the Heart on all those socials. Does Aortic Health Unlimited have a Instagram yet? Have you created one yet for
We
them?
do.
Okay,
We
good.
do.
So Aortic Health Unlimited on Instagram as well. So
hmm
please follow those. My email, if you want to reach out to me, talk, questions about the show, add your 2 cents, give me a survivor story, all that kind of stuff. We're open to that. John T, JONT at rockfromtheheart.org. Okay, JONT at rockfromtheheart.org. So we'll get those socials throughout the podcast here today. So once again, we are the Heart Connection. This is our second episode in hopefully a very long series of episodes. And to
hmm
explain it once again, we are survivors and we focus on surviving after the fact. What happens in the days, weeks, months, years after you have your major heart event? Both of us have had an aortic dissection, and last time we got to hear Diane's survivor story. So to set up today, it's my survivor story, and the lovely Miss Diane Bishop is going to take over. So, Diane, ask away.
Okay, your turn in the hot seat, John. For those of us that don't know you or what had happened, I want to know the beginning of what had happened, uh, and what went on, what they have done after that, and your experience.
Perfect. Let's start at the beginning. October 23rd, 2019. A day that will live in my family in infamy, right? So,
hmm
on that day, I woke up feeling normal. The only complaint that my wife said that I had was that I felt like I couldn't clear my throat. That was it. Otherwise, I had no symptoms. I had nothing. I had no indication that I was going to dissect. I had, if I had high blood pressure at the time or low blood pressure or whatever, I didn't know because I didn't check it at the time, right? Check it
hmm
every day now, but I didn't check it at the time. So, once again, another tip for everyone out there, please check your blood pressure every day, even if you don't have issues. It's a good idea to
hmm
do that. Uh, so I had no issues. I had nothing going on. Went about my day as normal. We owned a restaurant at the time in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, in northern Minnesota. And I actually was a football coach at the time as well. So I went to football practice. Everything was normal. I was tossing touchdowns to kids and things like that and coaching up and all excited on the football field. And I decided to take my daughters to the restaurant, and that's where kind of things took a turn. We ate dinner there, and I went out back to get my daughters into the truck, put them in the truck, and then I was going to go back inside to say goodbye to my wife. And as soon as I grabbed the door handle, it's like someone took a dull knife and stabbed me, cut me up my chest. That's what it felt like. It felt like the worst,
Wow.
like uh what is it, like acid reflux that you could, or
hmm
heartburn. That's what it felt. I thought it was heartburn. I was like, oh my gosh, why is that hitting me? And I walk inside, and fortunately, I walked inside because then I just fell flat on my face in the kitchen at the restaurant, and that was the
God.
first time I died. Was right there on the kitchen floor. So they got me over to the local hospital here, Grand Itasca. Um, they were trying to get the helicopter over to come pick me up to bring me to St. Mary's in Duluth, which is an Essentia hospital. But they said they won't send it because they didn't think I would survive. So finally, they got me stable enough to where they could send me on the helicopter, and and I remember getting off the helicopter, and the first person I saw when I got into the surgery room, because they wheel you out, and it's like they wheel you right into a surgery room basically from
Mm-hmm.
where the helipad is. You might have to go down an elevator or whatever, but it's like quick and you're in the surgery room. There was a guy that I used to coach in football that was hanging
Mm-hmm.
over me, and he said, Toivo, hey, we got this. I'm here with you. And it was a kid that I coach in football. His name's Matt Davis. And he ran the
Uh-huh.
bypass machine on me. And then crazy, his wife has done anesthesia stuff with me before as well. And I knew her because she was a local golfer and all that kind of stuff. So that was my event, my aortic dissection. So almost 12 hours of surgery. They repaired my aorta. So I got a
Mm-hmm.
fake sleeve. Um, and then they had to put in a mechanical valve in my heart. And then they also had to do a bypass because one of my arteries on my heart wasn't working, and it like was killing the right side of my heart, which is going to be important later. So they bypassed it, and so they buttoned me up, and everything was good. And the next thing I remember, I had a tube in my throat, and I couldn't open my eyes, but I heard the Vikings football game in my ear because it was a Thursday night. So Wednesday was
Mm-hmm.
when I went in. Thursday night they had the Vikings game on in my ear. And then once I woke up, like reality set in, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now all of a sudden my life has changed drastically forever. And not only has it changed drastically, I'm not out of the woods. A lot of people don't know that there is a very low survival rate of aortic dissection in the first place. And
Mm-hmm.
then the first big milestone is 1 year. And if you can make it 1 year, your chances of making it years past that, increase greatly. Because I know as well as you do that like I had a lot of complications. My the problems that I've had in my survival story started with my first surgery. It was such a traumatic event that everything after that was a direct result, essentially, with the
Uh-huh.
exception of my last surgery. But it was kind of a result of what happened to me in the initial.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first part of what I went through.
Mm.
Got home, you know, learned how to do things. By the way, the little sock things that help you put your socks on, those are the greatest
Yes.
thing ever because you can't, there's a lot of things you can't do. You can't lift 5 pounds. You can't
Right.
mow the lawn. You can't close a door almost is like they're like, you need to be careful. And so one of the things is straining yourself to putting on your socks. Well, they're these little blue sleeves, and you put the sock
Mm-hmm.
on and you like pull it up over your foot and it comes right off and it's so cool.
Wow.
Very helpful. Very helpful in my recovery.
Nice. Nice.
S
So this apparently isn't your only surgery. What led on to another surgery?
Good question. Excellent question. So I had a couple benefits for people had organized them. The first one
Mm-hmm.
was not too long after I got out of the hospital. I still wasn't driving. I was still carrying my heart pillow around everywhere. I had
Uh-huh.
that thing like this. I had a death grip on that thing all the time. And so they had the first one, and then the second one was actually at our restaurant. Um, and I got to hang out with people. I got to sip on a beer later that day. I'm like, I need to
Mm-hmm.
kind of enjoy myself while we're here. And a lot of people had said, they're like, it's really nice to come to a benefit knowing the person is going to survive, which was, I'd never thought about that until I was sitting there and someone had mentioned that to me. So, but then the next day I got really, really sick. Like I even went to the doctor. I had upper respiratory issues. I had a cough. I had a low grade fever and I was tired. And, all those symptoms were very common about a month after I had what I had had. But there was no indication that COVID was the thing that I had gotten. They say that COVID wasn't here until late December, early January in the United States. I don't believe that. I think it was here sooner. And I think that's what I had, but we'll just chalk it up to a really bad cold and an upper respiratory infection, I guess. So that's what I had. And I was sick for like 2 weeks. I couldn't shake it. And then I got out of it and one night my heart was beating so fast, like resting, it was 125 beats per minute. It was just boo 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 boo, and I couldn't figure out. Well, I was so close to going in, and then all of a sudden it just kind of stopped. It went away, and from that moment on, I got my health deteriorated over the next couple of months. So like I started to get pale and gray. I couldn't hardly walk upstairs. I just thought it was just because this is the way my life is going to be. Well,
Mm-hmm.
my blood pressure wouldn't get under control, and so I went into my cardiologist, and my cardiologist is very protective of me. She likes to send me to the hospital in a ambulance. So, um, but she ended up sending me back to Duluth, and they thought there was a leak in my repair. So they said, we're going to go in there and just put a stitch in it. But they said they want to do a TEE, which is a thoracic esophageal
Mm-hmm.
echocardiogram, or however they, so TEE anyway, it goes down your throat, and the probe sits next to your heart. They
Yeah.
can get a better reading than they can from the outside. And so they confirmed that there was a leak in there, and they just did it right before my surgery, but there was something odd. Well, when they finally got me opened up, they saw that my old artery that they bypassed started working again. Out of the blue. Just started working. And my new one that they bypassed stopped working, started spitting blood clots all around my heart. So they said they found blood clots everywhere. And once again, they said you were very lucky you came in when you did, because if you would have waited a week, you probably wouldn't have been alive.
Oh, goodness.
And so that was my
Good.
second surgery that I had, second open heart surgery. I've had more surgeries, but that was my second open
Jesus.
heart surgery. Yeah. And I was on warfarin because uh, I had the mechanical valve, so they had to take me off of it. So then after I got back home, they sent me home with Lovenox, which is, you know, IV or needle. So I had to give myself Lovenox shots every day in my stomach, which would
Uh-huh.
keep my blood thin until my INR got back up, with my warfarin. Well, they had me on so much Lovenox that my blood was so thin that my belly was just bruised, like I'm talking like purple from doing these shots. And um, when they had when they were during my second surgery, they had a probe in my arm that they stuck in there, and they actually poked it through the other side of my artery. Well, when I was on all that thinner, it also made my blood so thin that the rest of that artery ripped off. And so it was late one night, I was putting something on a shelf, and all of a sudden my bicep just tightened up, and my arm just naturally went like this, and I couldn't move it. And I thought it was a cramp. That's what it felt like. It felt like just a really bad cramp. So I got my wife up and I'm like, where's the heating pad? I need to get rid of this. I need to break this cramp. And she's like sitting there, and she sat there for 45 minutes thinking about where this heating pad could be. And she's in a daze. And finally, I'm like, this is so painful. Forget the heating pad. We need to go to the ER.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the ER and they did like an ultrasound, and it was on my bicep. There was nothing. It was solid. liquid in my arm. It was all blood. And so they rushed me to Duluth. The ambulance drove 90 and had the lights on. That was the only time I've ever gone fast in an ambulance, except for my first event, of
Uh-huh.
course. Um, and they ended up actually having to graft my artery. So they took a another artery from somewhere else and they had to graft it right
Mm-hmm.
here. So I can't get blood taken on that side anymore. It's all on the right side.
Wow.
So I had what's called compartment syndrome. And what that is that blood gets into your muscle and then it kills it. So they were really concerned that they were going to have to amputate my
Mm-hmm.
arm.
Ooh, never heard that. So you're telling me after your first surgery, you're recovering from this or adjusting to this, and there's something else that starts to bother you, or having a condition of something else, you therefore have to be rushed to the hospital and then another surgery. And there you go, having to adjust to the surgery, get used to it, try to make yourself feel better in
Yep.
something, and yet is there another surgery or complication you have? Because a lot of people, John, think that, okay, aortic dissection. I just had this one thing, aortic dissection, that's it. Whenever, a lot of times when I talk of aortic dissection, I like to talk about and its related illnesses because sometimes they come hand in hand. What other thing has happened to you after your second surgery that you ran into?
Yeah. So for the most part, I felt pretty good after that
Uh-huh.
last episode of um, of the whole arm and this all happened,
Hmm.
mind you, 5 months after my first surgery. So this was in
Wow.
February, and this was before COVID shut down. So COVID was a lot of talk, but things hadn't shut down at that time. But I will say they did
Hmm.
shut down my cardiac rehab, which my cardiac rehab guy thought that that was absolutely ridiculous that they did that because the one thing that is supposed to help me is they're canceling, and they actually canceled. They would cancel people's valve replacement surgeries because it's elective. Yeah, they were postponing them and canceling them. Only emergent things they were doing. I was following a few pages on Facebook and I remember people talking about that. And I was like, oh my gosh. So with that, I was feeling good. I really went on for 3 years without major complications. I mean, I had some things here and
Hmm.
there, but for the
Hmm.
most part, my health was doing really good. And I was kind of almost
Uh-huh.
back to normal. And and yes, I had the clicking in my ear of my mechanical valve. I could hear it all day, every day. It didn't bother me. It actually brought me comfort. Um,
Hmm.
some people get bothered by it. It didn't
Hmm.
bother me, and I literally heard it all day, every day. And it's click,
Hmm.
click, click, click like that all day, every day. And if it was quiet enough, people could be like, "Is there a watch? Somebody got a watch on?" No, no, that's my heart valve.
You?
It's me. So I was good for 3 years. So that was 2020 when my second surgery happened. And
Okay.
then in April of 2023, once again, I got sick. And it was after father-daughter dance where I took my littles.
Oh.
I know, it was so cute. I took my little girls
Ah.
there and uh they we had fun. And then the next day I felt sick. And I'm like, I thought I picked up the flu or something from like that from someone. So I started messaging people that I knew were there. I'm like, hey, how you feeling? And they're like, oh, fine. I'm like, oh, man, I feel real sick. I got a low grade fever. I have no energy. I got chills at
Hmm.
night. And I actually went to the doctor, but I didn't go to my doctor. I just went in. And at the time, I should have just messaged my cardiologist and my primary because they would have probably said,
Hmm.
get to the hospital now. But that doctor sent me home. That's probably, you're right. It's probably the flu. I don't even think he looked at my chart from previous. And then I went to the ER after a while, and They were like, yeah, there's something going on. And they sent me home. They
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have sent me home. They should have sent me to Duluth. They should have sent me to St. Mary's. And they didn't. And they didn't even do blood cultures on me, which they should have done. Well, so they got me over to Duluth finally because I had an appointment with my cardiologist the next day. And she's like, you don't look good. You need to
Mm-hmm.
go. You need to go to Duluth. So I went to Duluth, and that's where they started talking infection and blood infection. So I was actually, septic, and they don't know what caused it. They don't know where it came from. Could have been guts, could have been teeth, could have been anywhere. There is no indication as to where it came from. Um, and so when they figured out that it was, oh shoot, it's an infection, they started doing the tests. I actually had to have a PET scan
Mm-hmm.
because a PET scan will um, illuminate any like active living material, right? So like bacteria, cancer cells, things like that. And where my heart was, it lit up like a Christmas tree. So when you have not real parts, metal parts, plastic parts, things like that in your
Mm-hmm.
body, whether it's a hip replacement, knee replacement, a valve, a sleeve, things like that. If bacteria gets into it, they need to come out because otherwise they're not, that you won't survive. It'll just harbor that infection.
Mm-hmm.
And then come to find out I actually had an abscess on my aortic root as well. So in order to do the surgery that they had to do, I couldn't do it in Duluth. Well, they could have done it in Duluth, but my surgeon was like, I'm not very confident that about the surgery here because I
Mm-hmm.
needed to be on ECMO, which if anybody knows what ECMO is like the the bigger stepbrother of a bypass machine. It runs everything, lungs, everything. Only 50% of people come off of ECMO. So once you go on ECMO, your chances of
Mm-hmm.
survival are they're only 50%. Um, and so that was a part of the surgery. So they actually had to the plan was to take my aortic sleeve and my valve out and put cadaver parts in. So whenever they harvest like a heart for transplant, they usually don't need
Mm-hmm.
the aorta. They don't need some of the, they might not need a valve or two here and there. Um, or they harvest it off of cadavers, right? People that pass
Mm-hmm.
that have donated their organs or donated, part of their body to science or things like that. So they have those at Abbott Northwestern out in Minneapolis. They're a level one trauma
Oh,
center and a transplant center.
right.
And so that's where I had to go. And so
Mm-hmm.
they ambulanced me down there and they were going to get me into surgery. And then it was a very, very risky surgery. And I don't think that my surgeon thought that I was going to make it through it. I really don't. I really think that almost everyone thought I wasn't going to make it through it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and my surgery was supposed to be about 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours. It ended
Uh-huh.
up being 20. It was 20 hours.
Woo.
And they actually had some complications. Um, the doctor actually tore my pulmonary artery out of my heart. So they had to replace that. So there's another time I
Okay.
flatlined. I flatlined 6 times, by the way. So technically I've been dead 6 times. They've brought me back every time, but I haven't, but I've been on my way to another world. And I for some reason I just keep coming back. So, um, but they got me all fixed up. I was on ECMO for 4 days. They kept me
Mm-hmm.
open. They actually kept my chest open because they had to bring me back in to fix some complications and things like that.
Right.
So that was packed on my chest full of, you know, gauze essentially, and they would take me in and remove it. So then they were able to get me off of ECMO and my surgery was on Tuesday. I think they took me off on Friday. And then
Mm-hmm.
Sunday they woke me up. and I was in the ICU. And this will be a subject for another episode, but I had a lot of really
Yes.
bad dreams. And then also coming out of it, I had extremely bad ICU delirium.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought there were people in my ho or in my ICU room that were either trying to kill me or waiting for me to die so they could harvest my organs, which my organs ain't worth anything anymore. I am an organ donor, but it ain't
So,
worth they ain't worth
John,
anything anymore. Yep.
altogether, how many surgeries have had you had since your first one?
3 open heart surgeries and then the one arm surgery.
That last open heart surgery seems totally unreal to go under 20 hours.
It was a beast. I still am dealing with complications from that to this day, and that was back in
Right.
May of 2023. And we can get it.
23.
We'll get into the complications now
Yes,
here in a little
yes.
bit, but yeah, so that leads us up to all my major events
Right.
as of May 2023.
Wow, that has not been long, really. We're at
No,
2025.
I
And
know.
that just goes to show, to people that I say, you live your best life, do the best that you can, don't take life for granted. You just don't know. I mean, I had aortic dissection, of course. We went through all that and my valve replaced, and I still have some other issues needs to be addressed. But I just try to laugh all I can. But
Hmm.
besides that, John, um, has any of your family, your children, been tested?
Yes, actually, both I have two older daughters that are 19 and 18, and they both have
Okay.
had echocardiograms. Um,
Okay.
and they have been, because they've had some goofy stuff going on. So far, they're all clear.
Good.
Yeah, they're they've been good, but it's crazy because my wife's aunt
Mm-hmm.
and two cousins all had aortic aneurysms and all had them
Wow.
replaced. And so not only does my kids need to be mindful, but
Yes.
also my wife, because
Mm-hmm.
aortic disease is genetic. Aortic dissection, aortic aneurysms are genetic.
Right.
Um, the difference with me, though, is a lot of weird stuff happens to me. A lot of weird medical stuff happened to my sister, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad spent 2 tours in Vietnam. So
Oh.
he got Agent Orange dumped on him for, a few months while they were walking the trails. I mean, he said he remembers it dripping off the leaves. And basically, what Agent Orange does is it speeds up the life cycle process. So that's why you see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam vets are passing um, in
Mm-hmm.
their 60s, previously now
Mm-hmm.
into their 70s. Um, and and I wholeheartedly believe that's a part of what my complications, my problems have been too. But that's a 20-year study probably that needs to
Right.
happen.
Right.
I mean, it's not recognized as of yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I know there's a lot of push for heart issues and things like that going around. So um, we'll just leave it at
That
that.
was go- that was going to be my next question on your side of the family. Thank you for answering
Yeah.
that. And how has this affected your life, and how has uh, your wife adjusted? Because when you have a partner, it's not just you going through it. Your other partner, your wife, your husband, your sibling, your children. How has they adjusted to this, and how are they taking it, and what have they done to make it better for you?
Well, I got a great partner. My wife, Nicole, is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. She's been there since day one. She's slept in the ICU at my first surgery,
Oh,
sleeping on her purse because they told her, if you're going to sleep out there, you need to sleep on your purse because the surgical ICU waiting room was pretty scary. Um,
Mhm.
Some pretty questionable folks in there.
Yeah.
So they actually ended up. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm really well liked wherever I go in the hospital world. For whatever reason, they want me to
Oh,
survive and they like me. So they
I
really
can
liked
see
me.
why though.
Yeah. So they really liked us in the ICU there. So they actually like there was a gal that was like, I got a chair in here for you. You just come in here and stay the night.
Mhm.
And then my wife actually slept in my room every single night
Uh-huh.
from there on out during that
Mhm.
first surgery. Second surgery as well. I wasn't in the hospital very long. First surgery I was in for,
Mhm.
oh man, I think a week and a half, something like that, 2 weeks maybe, week and a half.
Mhm.
And then my last one I was in the hospital for a month. I was in the hospital for a couple weeks leading up to my surgery and then a couple weeks
Yes.
afterwards. So she was there the whole time. Um, and has been she's the person that I tell everything to. Like this is what's
Right.
going on with my body.
As it should be.
Yep, and I bounce things off of her all the time, you know.
Mhm.
And she knows exactly she can see the signs with me.
Yeah.
And lately it's been better, but coming out of that third surgery was really tough. I was it was touch and go whether I was going to survive for probably about 6 months.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Wow.
and and her support and my family's support and my mother-in-law and my mother and
Mhm.
father who, you know, rest their soul, they're passed now, but my sister came and she stayed, you know, my for pretty much all my surgeries. She's my
Mhm.
first surgery, I can't remember if she was into, I think she was already gone in Ohio at the time. She lives in Ohio. But she's
Mhm.
been coming back every time. My uncle came up and stayed for my last surgery. He was there and he took all the notes. So I'm gonna I'll uh, I'll post the notes to our to Rock from the
Mhm.
Heart and Aortic Health
Okay.
Unlimited at some point in time.
Good.
I got to dig them out. But yeah, he took it. It just kind of gives a daily uh, snapshot of what my recovery was like in the hospital, like the surgery, and
Okay.
he was writing down notes, and he sent that to me, and it was
Mhm.
like it was wonderful. I'm glad he did that. So
Mhm.
I very, very, very supportive family. Um,
Great.
Everyone listens to when I talk about what I have to say about my health,
Mhm.
which is really good. So
Mhm.
that's been a really positive experience. I know that there's a lot of people that don't have as much of a positive experience as I do, and I feel for them.
Mhm.
And just know that we are here for you as well. Like we are family.
Absolutely.
If you've had if
Absolutely.
you've had heart issues, your family, please reach out to us. I mean, we would love to give
Mhm.
you a hug. Just give you a hug.
Yes.
Tell you everything's okay.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's so I've got great
Spe-
family support.
Speaking of family, since for me, after I got myself better to where I could do things, I learned I do a lot of volunteering. As you know, I
Hmm.
founded Aortic Health Unlimited. I also work, the aortic artist for Aortic Hope, and
Yes.
also the leader of the Women's Wise Group. And very dear to my heart is Rock from the Heart. And we sit, and it's such a great event. When I attended one, I want to be so much part of it. And these people that are patients and doing all this work, I wanted to recognize people, let them know that I see you. You are seen, you are heard, and we want to thank them. And we had came up, of course, as you're aware of, the Golden Pin Award
Hmm.
and the prestigious award that is given out at every dinner, recognition dinner. How has Rock from the Heart and Aortic Health Unlimited helped you, and how can it help others? And most importantly, what does it mean to you, John, and how can we help others?
Yes. So Rock from the Heart, I got connected with them after my third surgery, sitting there one night just scrolling through Facebook, saw a post somehow, some way it reached me because when I first had my first event, there was nothing out there. I mean, you
Mhm.
search Facebook for groups and there was nothing. Now there's a lot of them, right? There's, Rock from the Heart, like you said, Aortic Hope, Aortic Health Unlimited. There's
Mhm.
uh, you know, young people between the ages of 18 and 55 with
Mhm.
aortic issues. There's, aortic valve Facebook page, aortic dissection Facebook page. There's all sorts of stuff out there, which is
Right.
excellent. And there needs to be more. There needs to be lots more because we're all in different parts of the
Yes.
country, right? You're in Alabama. I'm in Minnesota.
Yes.
Rock from the Heart is based out of Minnesota. Essentially, Aortic Health Unlimited is based out of Alabama. And there's these other
Mhm.
places. Aortic Hope is, based out of the East Coast. Um,
Mhm.
and so there's a lot of different parts of the country that people need to reach, right? So in the
Right.
Midwest, there's a different, you might have a different audience than you would, say, out west or out east or down south. But no matter what, the audience is always anyone that has ever had issues or had family members that have had issues or are potential to have issues someday because of genetics. So now I messaged Rock from the Heart. I messaged Amy on
Mhm.
Facebook and she said, I'll get you in touch with our speaker coordinator because I just said, hey, I'd love to come to your event, but I'd love to tell my
Mhm.
story because I've seen on your Facebook page,
Mhm.
there's people that tell their story at your event. So I'd love to tell my story.
Right.
And she's like, well, let me hook you up with Megan. And I chatted with Megan, and the rest, as they say, is history. From there, I've
Mhm.
now we've started this podcast, been involved with every event since then. Um,
Yes.
Volunteering on the event planning committee, all that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
I got really involved with that. And then Aortic Health Unlimited brought me on board yourself because of Rock from
Mhm.
the Heart, because I saw,
Mm.
or because we chatted at uh, at our last event. Uh-oh, I lost you for a moment. All right, where did we go here? Oh, hold on a second. This is what we do.
Mhm.
This is what we do right here, right? I lost you for a second, but I'm gonna bring you back.
So,
So
my
I'm gonna
bad.
keep that in. Uh, uh,
Okay.
Joshua might
Yes.
not be happy with that. I'll let him know what's going on. So we might have to cut that part out. But that's okay. We're here. We're back here. So
Yes.
Airtech Health Unlimited
Mhm.
is fantastic organization started by yourself, and a lot of people have gravitated towards the Facebook page. I get the
Mhm.
admin welcomes where, I mean, it seems like
Mhm.
every week there's 4, 5, 6 to 10 people
Right.
that are joining the Airtech Health Unlimited Facebook page. Um,
Mhm.
the care packages, that's the big
Yes.
thing. The care packages. So it had, like you talked about last episode, the grippy socks, the
Mhm.
blood pressure cuff. Like I'd said earlier,
Most
everyone
definitely.
should be checking their blood pressure.
Exactly.
Um, all those types of things that help you out when you leave the hospital. So like you said, you're not,
Mhm.
so that you have that peace of mind that, oh, okay, I don't have to go out and buy all this stuff. I don't have to go get this stuff. It's right here in this package.
Exactly.
So Rock from the Heart is helping spearhead that as well now. So you can
Yes.
donate as much as you would like, and we would love for
Yes.
you to donate. Rockfromtheheart.org. You can
Mhm.
find a donation um, uh, spot there on the website. You can also find it through the
Mhm.
Facebook page as well. Aortic Limited as Unlimited as well.
Mhm.
You can find
Mhm.
those through there. So I encourage anybody, if they've
Mhm.
had any sort of event or know a family member,
Mhm.
and you want to give, this is a good organization to give to, both of them.
Right.
And so it really, really helped me, and it's helped me with my continuing health issues because my story ain't over.
No.
It's not over, not even close.
Mm-mm.
So I've had more complications after the fact, right? So I am actually in right right side heart failure. So I'm officially diagnosed with right side heart failure. And for those who have ever heard of left side heart failure, there's a device that they can put in called an LVAD, which stands for left ventricle assistance device, I believe is what it is. Should have probably looked at that before the show. But so what that does is it will actually control the left side of your heart um, with a battery pack. The right side, they can't do anything for that. Time, hopefully it heals, or transplant are the only options. And so I was teetering on that for a little while. That's why I said 6 months after my last surgery, it was pretty touch and go. Well, then I found out that my valves were leaking um, and my right side of my heart was not doing good. Well, it bounced back. Both of them bounced back. My regurgitation level and my valves has actually taken a step back and got it and improved. The right side of my
Mm-hmm.
heart is improved, but I still have to take medication because I get fluid built up fairly quickly. Um, and even the daily torsemide that I take won't take care of it. It just, my heart can't keep up with it. So with in turn, I have also developed what's called cardiac cirrhosis. So what that means is when the right side of your heart backs up and it backs up that fluid. And it backs up that blood and all that good stuff and it goes right back and it's like almost like a direct line to your liver. And so that's what's going on with me. And for a while there it was touch and go and they were saying if you got scarring on your liver, you need a transplant. Well, if I'm going to get a liver transplant, there's no way my heart will
Mm-mm.
do well, and there's
Oh.
no way I will survive it without a heart transplant. So we were looking, staring down the barrel of a double transplant. Well, now since testing has gone and I've improved, changed a lot of my lifestyle, my diet, things like that, um, I have I have now like turned that around a little bit. Whereas now the testing that I've had, we can wait for a while before we get actual confirmed testing. Um, as to whether or not there's scarring and things like that. But right now, everything is status quo. Um, I am diabetic now. That was a wonderful thing that I learned. My A1C was sky high, so I'm on Ozempic now, um, which I don't need Ozempic for the weight loss necessarily. I've lost 17 pounds in the last 2 months without it. And
Mm.
so now it's going to start melting off even more. But that brings us essentially to today. That brings us to current time. Um, Along this journey, I've learned so much resilience and strength and a lot of things that I didn't realize the human body could endure and handle and recover from. It's pretty amazing. Um, from day one, I had no idea what to expect. And coming along this journey has been not only have I learned so much about this, but I've met so many fantastic people that are that I will know and love for life. And we're not in this alone. That's the whole thing that we all need to understand. This this podcast is going to be full of laughs and tears. So just buckle up because you're on a ride with us. So don't so if you see us
A
emotional,
very,
it happens.
it's a very powerful and emotional story. Very, very powerful, very raw. Um, and every bit of it is true, and your resilience is so, so inspiring. And this is why it is so important to share your stories,
Mhm.
to give other hope,
Yes,
to
absolutely.
let people know there's other survivors out there. And I thank you so much for sharing and being for real on everything because it's real difficult. Um, I love you very much, John.
You
We've
know I
gotten
love
so
you too.
close.
I know this is and our journey is a lot of people's journey, but you know what? They're not all cookie cutter, right?
That's
You
right.
know, your issues with lupus and some of the other things that you have going on are things that I don't deal with, but I deal with other things. And the next
Yeah.
person's going to deal with other things. And you know what? There are some
Yeah.
people that have aortic their aorta repaired and their valves
Hmm.
repaired and they go on with life and no other complications until they need a new valve or
Right.
if it, depending on if it's mechanical or a cow or pig or whatever, like my case, it's people and there's no and that's okay too. That's we cheer for those people, you know,
Exactly.
and we support everyone in our journey and that's what this show is about.
That's
That's what the
all about.
rawness is about is it's about surviving after the fact. What's happening? What's going on? Because it's a pretty lonely world out there for people like us. It can
Yes.
be. There's so many times where I want to talk to someone, but they don't understand. And
Okay.
and the one thing that I have noticed lately is the thought of immortality that I see people have. I used to have that as well.
Yeah.
I thought I'm not going to drop dead tomorrow. I'm going to live to be 100 years old and ain't nothing gonna it's like
Hmm.
nothing. And now I think about that. Now I wake up every morning and it's minute by minute, hour by hour. And a lot of people in our position know what we're talking about when we say this. And I hope that
Exactly.
our listeners can relate. It's
Exactly.
it's true. I mean, like I said, I thought I was on top of the world and nothing would ever happen. And I try to and that's part
Yeah.
of what I also want to do too is people need to realize everyone at 18 years old should not only have a primary doctor, primary care doctor,
Yes.
they should also have a cardiologist. At 18, it should be mandatory. Insurance companies should be like, yes, we want the preventative care so that we don't
Hmm.
have to pay for surgeries down the road, right?
Right. Right.
And that's the
Exactly.
and that's also the education that I like that is out there with Aortic Health
Hmm.
Unlimited sharing, with Rock from the Heart
Hmm.
sharing. I mean, there's a lot of and all the other Facebook pages, there's lots of information out there that a lot of people are sharing that are good reads, they're good videos. I encourage
Exactly.
people to get out there and just do some research and tell your story. If you're not comfortable with telling your story, let us do it. We'll tell your
Hmm.
story for you. We won't even say your name if you don't want to.
Mm-mm.
We can call you patient A or whatever we want. But
It's
please
important. It is
share your story.
so important.
Hmm.
There's another one out there. There's somebody that needs to hear it. You could change somebody's life. It don't matter. Share it to
Hmm.
whoever you're comfortable with. Just share it. There is no right or wrong, but let it out because you're holding something in. And whoever it is, they're scared. There's people scared out there. There's people lonely. There's people threatening suicide.
Hmm.
And I know because I thought about it before. I done my bargaining with God. I went through the anger, the denial, and all that. Just talk to somebody, share your story,
Yeah.
and reach out.
I
Just
I
reach out.
I don't know if you've said this before, but I'm sure there's other people that have said this. I've said it before. Why did I survive?
Exactly.
Why me? 2 months after I had my event, a 9-year-old boy passes away in our town. Why me?
Exactly. Why?
I don't know. It's
Mm.
hard. It's hard to think about.
Life is so hard. Yeah.
But we're
So,
here. Like
so
we're
hard.
this is what we do.
Exactly.
This is and I will say
Hmm.
at the Rock from the Heart events, the one thing that I hear the most when it comes to talking to people, and this is so some of the providers that speak at it, I talk to
Hmm.
them and also some of the people that attend the event. Every single one of them says, including the providers, the most impactful thing that happened today was to hear the survivor stories.
Mhm.
Everyone takes a little piece out of this speaker and that speaker, but the
Mhm.
thing that was most impactful was the survivor stories. And it's great to hear, and I love connecting with those survivors every single
Right.
year. It's like my network just grows because of this event that I had happen in my life.
And what you thought at one time, you felt like you're nothing. Why this? Why that? You find purpose in life. You
Yeah,
find things much simpler. I used to get mad at dirty dishes, don't matter. Things that
yeah.
don't matter before. You change your perspective. But I'm
Mhm.
like I said, I'm truly happy. I'm happy to be with you and meet other people out there and work with other people. Because we could relate, we communicate, and I mean, I'm looking forward to getting together with you in February.
I know, I can't wait. In February, Rock from the Heart has announced
Yep.
their music. So that event will be
Hmm.
February 13th and 14th at
Correct.
Canterbury Downs in Shakopee, Minnesota. So those that know where Minneapolis is, it's southwest of Minneapolis. Um, and it's going to be started out by the VGs. That's the music starting out.
Hmm.
They're opening, and then the Hype is going to be playing the main concert.
Hmm.
Tickets start at $30. You can find them on Rock from the Heart website, rockfromtheheart.org. You can find them
Hmm.
on Rock from the Heart Facebook page. I
Hmm.
know I've shared it on my Facebook.
Yes.
I know Aortic Health
Hmm.
Unlimited has shared it. You could find it
Right.
there as well. Gravitate towards those places if you want to come. The
Hmm.
symposiums on the 13th. That is where the speakers are, and that is where you hear the survivor
Hmm.
stories. We are mingling with the crowd. We would love to see you
Yep.
there, love to chat with you. So there's more to come on that as we get the speakers together, and we'll share some of that information with you on our screens and things like that. So we want to
Exactly.
get all the information that we can out there. So make
Hmm.
sure you attend February 13th and 14th in Shakopee for that Rock from the Heart event. So um,
Hmm.
with that, my story is well over for this episode, but not over totally. So we'll recap from time to time. Obviously, now next episode we're hoping to have open discussion, but I'd also like to see if I could bring maybe someone else on the show. So we're going to try to have guests whenever we can
Yes.
on the show. Otherwise, it's a lot of just information and stuff that we talk about. Once again, we are not medical professionals. We don't claim to be. We're not saying listen to us and take it wholeheartedly. Always,
Mm-mm.
call 911 or check with your provider. But hopefully, some of the stuff that we're talking about makes sense to you, or
Yeah.
maybe you had a complication similar to one of ours,
Hmm.
or some of our guests coming up that you can relate to, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the show. Show is not to get popular. The show isn't to get recognition. The show is
Right.
to help people, and that's the main focus on it.
Exactly.
It will get fancier. It's going to get fancier. Trust me, it will. And
Hmm.
we're just starting this thing out, and then hopefully it's going to be a long time coming. So, with that,
Hmm.
do you have anything else that you want to add about our show today?
No, I just want to thank you so much for being so open and raw. You had me with a knot on my in my throat for the longest, just like, oh God, dog it. Here we go. But you know, thank you so much. And well, what I like to see, and hopefully, maybe we could take in some question and answers, on our next show or something. Let's get something like that going.
Yeah.
But no, everything went well. I want to thank you. And until next time, my friend.
Yeah, until next time. So once again, we'll rattle off if you want to ask some questions, uh, JONT, so John T at rockfromtheheart.org. You can email me. You
Mm-hmm.
could reach out to Diane on
Yes.
Aortic Health Unlimited Facebook page as well. Rock from the Heart Facebook page, Instagram on both as well,
Mhm.
YouTube on Rock from the Heart, and rockfromtheheart.org. Aortic
Mhm.
Health Unlimited. I
Mhm.
know there is a website out there as well.
Right. If you're
What's
interested in being a guest, contact one of us, and
Yes,
we'd love to have you.
absolutely. We'd love to have
Absolutely.
you. And like I said, if you're just not comfortable sharing your story, John T at
Mhm.
rockfromtheheart.org. Please
Mhm.
email me and we'll get your story in at some point in
Right.
time. Um,
Mhm.
so with that, that brings our second episode to a conclusion. Uh, Once again, I want to thank the lovely Diane Bishop for not only you being so raw and open and conducting just a fantastic interview today, by the way. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Great questions, and I think we got a lot of good information out there.
Uh-huh.
And I love to see the mounts in the back there, the deer mounts.
Yes.
And I'm sure Ricky's sitting back there. Roll Tide, Ricky.
Yeah, that's it. Roll Tide, Ricky. That's
So
what he said when he shot him.
yeah, no kidding. So with that, we want to thank you once again for joining us. And
No
until we see you next
problem.
time, a couple of weeks from now, once again, this has been the Heart Connection with myself, John Toivonen, and Diane Bishop, brought to you by Airtech Health Unlimited, Rock from the Heart, all sorts of good stuff. So we'll see you
Mhm.
in a couple of weeks.
Good night.